Chapter 21 The Request of the Great Fighting Spirit Arena. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With a winning streak all the way, Lin Chuan also began to rise to fame. After winning 11 consecutive games, he was promoted to Bronze Fighting Spirit. This incident also caused a great sensation. After all, in the same Fighting Spirit badge level, there is almost no Soul Master who can compete with him. Not everyone can be as perverted as Lin Chuan. The Fighting Spirit Arena stipulates that the Fighting Spirit badges from lowest to highest are iron, copper, silver, gold, purple gold, sapphire, ruby, and the highest diamond level. Everyone starts from the Iron Fighting Soul. Every time they win a Fighting Soul, in addition to the reward of 10 gold soul coins, they can also get 1 point. It only takes 1 point to upgrade from the Iron Fighting Soul to the Bronze Fighting Soul. 100 points, of course. It doesn't mean that you have to win 100 games to be promoted to a Bronze Fighting Spirit. If the winning streak reaches 5 games, each subsequent win will directly increase the points by 10 points until the defeat. If the winning streak reaches the 10th game, then winning one more game will directly increase the points by 100 points. Lin Chuan, now you have obtained the Bronze Fighting Soul badge. For most Soul Masters, a first-level Soul Master who can obtain a Bronze Fighting Soul badge is extremely rare. The game groups are allocated according to the same realm. To put it simply, Lin Chuan improved all the way through torture. Even if he no longer uses sword skills, he can still win quite easily if he uses these opponents to hone his boxing and spear skills, so now the odds are getting lower and lower. However, it is not without its benefits. At least after becoming a Bronze Fighting Soul, you can get a reward of 100 gold soul coins for every win. Although it is not as good as the initial gambling income, it is still a considerable fortune. So in these 2 points and 1 line of life, time passed quickly. Lin Chuan's soul power also reached level 19. Jacks, jacks, jacks. The stands of the Fighting Spirit Arena were filled with people. Countless spectators were cheering and shouting Lin Chuan's code name, their faces full of excitement. In particular, many beautiful women looked flushed and looked like they were having intracranial orgasms. From being ignored at the beginning to being supported by countless people, in just 1 month, Lin Chuan is now the most famous Soul Master in the entire Sword City Great Soul Fighting Arena. But most people also wanted to join in the fun and just wanted to see when Lin Chuan's winning streak would be terminated. Boom! Lin Chuan breathed a sigh of relief after knocking his opponent off the stage with 1 punch. Congratulations to Master Jax. He defeated his opponent again and won the 30th consecutive victory. The current record is 30 wins and 0 losses. It is really incredible. Who else is his opponent? The host spoke with excitement and his voice trembled slightly. This question is also what all viewers want to know. A few spectators witnessed Lin Chuan's 30 soul battles with their own eyes. The fighting methods were completely different each time, but the only surprising thing was that not one of the 30 opponents forced out his martial soul and soul skills. This gimmick alone is enough to attract the attention of countless people. Because of this, more and more people came to watch the competition in the Spirit Fighting Arena, and the tickets alone made the Fighting Spirit Arena a lot of money. Dear Master Jax, I have kept you waiting for a long time, and the points have been settled for you. This is your Silver Soul Fighting Badge. The total points you have accumulated so far is 2,055. The staff handed back the Fighting Spirit Badge with eager expressions. Thank you. Master Jax is very polite. It is an honor to receive you. The person in front of me is a rising genius. He is a small soul fighting staff member. He doesn't need to be friends with him, but he just needs to be familiar with him. Lin Chuan naturally didn't know what the other party was thinking. He took the badge and the gold soul coin card and turned to leave. Master Jax, please wait a moment. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded, calling Lin Chuan to a stop. Judging from the clothes of the speaker, he should be a staff member of the Great Spirit Fighting Arena. Lin Chuan paused slightly, with a puzzled look on his face. Is there anything else? It's like this. Our supervisor has been friends with Master Jax for a long time, so he sent me to invite him. I just don't know if it's convenient for Master. Are you in charge? Lin Chuan's eyes flickered slightly. Sure enough, he was still being targeted. Of course, it's not that I have any intention of harming him, but more that I want to make friends, or even open my mouth to recruit him. After thinking for a moment, Lin Chuan did not refuse. Please lead the way. Then please invite Master Jax to come with me. Follow the staff all the way into the core area of the Great Soul Fighting Arena, and finally stop in front of a magnificent and luxurious door. Boom, boom, boom. Please come in. The staff carefully opened the door and entered with respect on their faces. Director Shang, Lord Jax has been brought here. Thank you for your hard work, you go down first. Yes. Suddenly there were only 2 people left in the spacious room, and Lin Chuan also took this opportunity to look at the middle-aged man in front of him. Haha, you must be Soul Master Jia. I have long admired your name, and I am still following you. You are the person in charge of the Great Soul Fighting Arena in Sword City. I specially invite you to come. I hope you won't be offended. The supervisor Shang Sui smiled cheerfully and took the initiative to start a conversation. Lin Chuan would naturally not be too indifferent if he reached out and didn't slap anyone in the face. Director Shang, it's a pleasure to meet you. I wonder if you invite me here. What's the reason for your invitation? Master Jia Hun, don't worry, let's sit down and talk slowly. Shang Sui smiled, but did not rush to speak. Instead, he invited Lin Chuan to sit down and personally poured him a cup of tea. This is the tea from the Xinglua Empire. Master Jia might as well try it. Thank you. Lin Chuan thanked him softly, and was not shy. He picked up the tea, lifted the ghost mask slightly, and took a sip of hot tea. A strong aroma came to his nose. Good tea. Master Jia likes it. I still have a lot here. If you don't mind, you can take some when you leave later. Lin Chuan raised his eyebrows slightly and slowly put down the teacup in his hand. No merit, no reward. If you have anything to say, please speak directly. Haha, Master Jia is quick-witted, so I won't beat around the bush. Master Jia has won all the way, which makes Shang admire him very much. He is just an ordinary one-ring soul master, obviously no match for Master Jia. I wonder if Master Jia is interested in fighting with a more powerful soul master. Shang Sui smiled at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were full of eagerness and expectation. Lin Chuan's heart moved slightly. Manager Shang, can you explain it in detail? Then I'll get straight to the point. On behalf of the Great Soul Fighting Arena of Baojian City, I hope that Master Jia can sign up for the cross-level challenge and fight in the main soul fighting arena. Hearing this, Lin Chuan suddenly understood, so this is the idea. Do you want to have a one-on-one soul fight with a great soul master or even a soul master, so as to attract more people to watch the fight and maximize the harvest of this traffic? As expected of someone who can sit in the position of supervisor, he is very smart. At the same time, it must be said that Lin Chuan was indeed moved. Chapter 22, 20,000 Gold Soul Coins. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Nowadays, Lin Chuan has no pressure at all to fight against ordinary soul masters. If he can fight against more powerful soul masters, he can also gain more combat experience. As for the Great Soul Fighting Arena, they may have their own little thoughts. A soul master who has won 30 consecutive victories and crosses the ranks to challenge a great soul master or soul master, using this as a gimmick for publicity, will definitely attract a lot of attention by then, and not only can he get more ticket money, but also if you open another handicap, you will definitely make a lot of money. What Director Shang said does make sense, but even if I have some ideas, it is obviously unfair to challenge me beyond the next level. What can I gain? Lin Chuan chuckled and was not in a hurry to agree. Sometimes, you have to actively fight for the benefits that you should fight for. The Sword City Spirit Fighting Arena wanted to use him to make money, so he couldn't just work for nothing. He had to get some benefits no matter what. Master Jia Soul is really quick to talk. Shang Sui smiled, obviously realizing that Lin Chuan was not easy to fool. Whether it was his figure or his voice, it was obvious that he was not very old, but his style of doing things was quite sophisticated. However, based on the data survey during this period, Shang Sui knows very well how popular Lin Chuan is currently. This is still in the spirit fighting arena. If it is promoted by the big spirit fighting arena and the cross-level challenges are arranged in the main spirit fighting arena, the scene will definitely be extremely popular by then. The huge benefits alone make people excited, even if most of the profits cannot go into his own pocket. If he really achieves results, his status will undoubtedly rise by then. Thinking of this, Shang Sui is naturally not stingy. As a qualified person in charge, there is no reason to refuse things that benefit both sides. Master Jia Soul, how about this? As long as you are willing to take on the cross-level challenge, the Great Soul Fighting Arena will give you 10,000 gold soul coins as a reward. Not enough. Lin Chuan shook his head slightly. If I participate in the cross-level soul fighting, the opponents I will encounter in the future will definitely be the same level. If I buy them out with only 10,000 gold soul coins, I will be really at a loss. This Shang Sui was a little embarrassed, but still asked tentatively, what does Master Jia Soul mean? You have to pay more. Shang Sui. After some haggling, they finally reached an agreement, and the Great Soul Fighting Arena paid 20,000 gold soul coins, which was already the maximum benefit that could be obtained. Lin Chuan did not continue to be greedy, but gave up when he saw the opportunity. Master Jia Hun really makes me feel ashamed. Why do you have to say that, Director Shang? Even though you have to pay some price, you will definitely make less money in the soul fighting arena. You get the best of both worlds, right? Shang Sui smiled but didn't answer. In this case, please ask Soul Master Jia to rest for 3 days. During these few days, the Great Soul Fighting Arena will do its best to publicize this matter. Your opponent should be a great soul master. I will use his. I'll leave the information to you. That's not necessary. The unknown can bring surprises. Lin Chuan shook his head slightly, not intending to rely on the official to cheat. Seeing this, Shang Sui did not continue to persuade. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Lin Chuan stood up to say goodbye, then turned and walked out the door. Shang Sui walked him to the door, not forgetting to give him a box of tea at the same time. Looking at the exquisite iron box in his hand, Lin Chuan's eyes were incomprehensible. It's fitting that the other person should be the supervisor, and with these worldly manners, it's almost impossible to find fault with him. Leave the Great Soul Fighting Arena and return to the hotel. In the next 3 days, Lin Chuan did not go to the Great Soul Fighting Arena as agreed, but stayed in the backyard of the hotel to practice. At the same time, a piece of news spread to the outside world, or the entire Sword City. Jax, the first-level soul master who has won 30 consecutive victories in one-on-one soul fighting, will be challenged to a higher level in 3 days. His opponent will be a 2-level soul master. As soon as this news came out, countless people were interested. Soul Masters cross-level soul fighting Great Soul Master. Real or fake? This is news coming from inside the Great Soul Fighting Arena. How can it be false? I know that Jax. It is said that the martial spirit is a bow, but in these 30 battles, the martial spirit and soul skills have never been used. Only a hatchet has been used to defeat all opponents. So smart. Yes, maybe he is a genius from some big power. However, the opponent is a great soul master. I'm afraid it won't be as easy as before. After all, there is one more soul skill, and the soul power is also significantly behind. Maybe his 30 company the victory ends here. No matter what, I plan to go and see it. It will definitely be exciting. Just as Shang Sui envisioned, after the promotion of the Great Soul Fighting Arena, both those who knew about it and those who didn't know about it became interested in the soul fighting in 3 days. Even the reserved tickets for the main fighting spirit arena have been sold out. After learning the news, Shang Sui almost broke out in laughter. These are all by Huahua's soul coins. Director, what level of opponent should we arrange for Jax? After thinking for a moment, Shang Sui slammed the table and finalized, let's arrange for a slightly more powerful Great Soul Master. The soul ring configuration must be 100 years old, and the record must be better. Although the Great Soul Master is several times more powerful than the Soul Master, but Jax is very evil and never goes all out, so it's always good to be a little conservative. But what if Jax actually wins? The staff on the side suddenly asked worriedly. Isn't it good to win? Shang Sui smiled and asked, if Jax can really win, we will earn more. That's a soul master defeating a great soul master, which will definitely make more people crazy. Even if we lose, it doesn't matter. We have already earned a lot. Hearing this, the staff suddenly realized. The supervisor is still thoughtful. Less flattery, more work, the soul fight in 3 days will definitely be unprecedented, remember to arrange more people to avoid chaos. Forget it, I will choose the candidates myself, remember to balance the odds of both sides a little. Yes, supervisor. As the news continued to ferment, the Sword City became more and more lively, finally. 3 days later, the long-awaited one-on-one cross-level soul fight was also within reach, countless people gathered in the big soul fight arena early. Even though there was still some time before the soul fight started, the main soul fight arena was already crowded, and even the aisles were full of people. Among them were not only nobles and soul masters, but also some ordinary people. The scene was very lively. In order to maintain order, the entire Dohan arena's internal staff was busy, but under the encouragement of Shang Sui's words of giving bonuses, no one complained. The sky gradually darkened. At the end of the street, a figure quietly emerged and slowly walked towards the Dohan arena. Chapter 23, Leapfrog, Start the War. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The internal structure of Sword City's Great Fighting Spirit Arena is also magnificent. A large number of spectators gathered here, but under the management of the internal staff of the Fighting Spirit Arena, even though there were a large number of people, it did not appear chaotic, but in order. In the crowd, a middle-aged man and a boy looked around with curiosity. Teacher, there are too many of them. Our Soto City Spirit Fighting Arena is completely incomparable. That the young man was wide and fat, with particularly conspicuous red hair. His eyes were full of excitement, but soon, his eyes were attracted by the graceful women around him. Unknowingly, drool was even dripping from his mouth, looking very vulgar. The middle-aged man on the side suddenly slapped the boy on the back of the head hard, with a helpless expression on his face. You kid, please restrain yourself a little, don't be so embarrassed, we are here to do business. I understand, teacher. The young man was in pain, holding his head and curling his lips in frustration, but he still nodded obediently. Under the guidance of the staff, the middle-aged man came to the front desk with brisk steps, and finally stopped in the gambling area, put his hand on the table and tapped it lightly. Hello, I'm here for a betting fight. Help me buy Jax and win. Okay, sir. The staff member took the money bag from the middle-aged man's hand, smiled politely, and didn't have much reaction. He had experienced this situation countless times. In fact, many people came today for the cross-level challenge. I have kept you waiting for a long time, sir. This is your gambling voucher. Please be sure to keep it. Thank you very much. The middle-aged man reached out to take it and carefully put it into his pocket, as if he was keeping some rare treasure. Teacher, you are too hasty. This soul battle is a cross-level challenge. A soul master fights a great soul master. You have to buy a soul master to win. If you lose, you will lose everything. Seeing his teacher's face glowing red, the young man's expression changed and he quickly spoke to persuade. Go, 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 what do children know? The middle-aged man pushed up the square-framed glasses on the bridge of his nose and waved his hand impatiently. Do you think my teacher is such a reckless person? I had already found out before placing the bet. Although that Jax is just a soul master, but his soul power has reached level 19, and he is only one soul ring away from a great soul master. Being able to win 30 consecutive victories without using martial arts and soul skills is definitely not easy. His true strength is at least comparable to that of a great soul master. You will definitely not lose money if you buy him. After saying this, the middle-aged man clearly had a plan in mind. It sounds like it's true. The young man curled his lips, obviously not believing what his teacher said. After all, he was also a soul master himself, so he naturally knew how big the gap was between each major level. Not only does the soul master lag behind the great soul master in soul power, but he also lacks a soul skill. What if he wants to win? Although he thought so in his heart, the young man did not speak out the thoughts in his mind. Otherwise he might have to be lectured verbally by his teacher again. Teacher, so you want to drag that Jax into the academy? I have this idea, a glint flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes. He did not hide it and nodded gently. Hongjun, you also know that there are really too few students in our Shrek Academy. Now it is not easy to meet one. If there is a suitable seedling, I will naturally fight for it. Hey, teacher, you are too greedy and set the requirements too high. Otherwise, how could you not recruit anyone except me and Xiao Ao? Shut up, you. That the middle-aged man was obviously a little angry and hit the boy hard on the head. The boy grinned in pain. Stop talking nonsense, hurry up and follow me to the main fighting arena, don't miss it. That the middle-aged man pulled the young man and walked through the crowd into the main fighting arena, the dazzling lights shone, and the entire soul fighting arena was filled with shouts. However, the game did not start, which was enough to show how lively the scene was and how much the audience was looking forward to this transcendent spirit fight. Wow, it's so lively. Listening to the noisy shouts around him, the young man was also emotionally aroused, his eyes full of excitement and envy. Are you envious? The middle-aged man smiled and reached out to rub the young man's red hair. If you are envious, practice hard. When you become stronger, you will be able to get the support and cheers of so many people. Well, teacher, I will work hard. At this moment, a host wearing a long skirt suddenly fell from the sky, and then floated directly above the soul fighting stage. A pair of colorful wings behind him flapped slightly, as beautiful as a fairy descending from the earth. Wow, so beautiful. The boy who was high-spirited just now suddenly returned to his brother pig appearance. The happy smile on the middle-aged man's face froze for an instant, and then he couldn't help but roll his eyes. This kid is hopeless. Good evening, viewers. I am your old friend Yi. I am honored to be the host of the main battle arena tonight. I believe everyone is already a little impatient at this moment. Yes, Yi is also looking forward to it. The cross-level soul fighting that has not appeared for a long time has finally started again today, and the two players participating in it are the fighting soul master with the beast martial soul cloud leopard, Alphon, and the most popular player in our big soul fighting arena. The undefeated fighting spirit master, Jax. So who will win this battle of spirits? Will player Alphon defeat his powerful opponent with strength, or will player Jax defeat him and continue his winning streak? Without further ado, please invite the contestants from both sides to enter. As the hostie's sweet voice came out, the entire fighting arena suddenly became boiling. Jax, Jax, Jax. Alphon, Alphon, Alphon. The main fighting arena was full of people, and the audience in the stands cheered and shouted very rhythmically, with one wave higher than the other, and the atmosphere began to become crazy with the roar. After a long wait, the emotions were finally completely vented. Swish, a black shadow flashed by, and a man suddenly appeared on the fighting arena. He was about 1.7 meters tall, looked nearly 30 years old, with broad shoulders, a resolute appearance, a head of white short hair, and a particularly sharp look. On the other side, Lin Chuan walked out of the passage slowly. The moment he appeared, he was locked by countless eyes. If an ordinary person was stared at by so many people, he might really feel numb or even very nervous, but after a month of baptism, Lin Chuan had already gotten used to this situation and would naturally not be affected at all. Lin Chuan stepped onto the soul fighting arena and took a look at his opponent. His observation hockey swept over him and he saw that Ao Feng's soul power was about level 27. The soul fighting arena really arranged a good opponent for him. If it were an ordinary soul master, when he was almost one level ahead, he would not have to fight and could directly choose to surrender. Does Shang Sui, the director of the soul fighting arena, really think highly of him, or does he have other ideas? Chapter 24, Go ahead, kill him in one blow. What else can I say? You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Lin Chuan didn't care much about what the director of the Great Soul Fighting Arena thought. He just hoped that the Great Soul Master in front of him would not let him down. Then I declare that the soul fighting officially begins. The host Yi shouted loudly, and the wings behind her flapped. The whole person instantly flew out of the soul fighting arena. leaving the entire stage to Lin Chuan and Ao Feng. "Jax, I have heard of your name for a long time." Ao Feng did not take action immediately, but took the initiative to say hello. Seeing that Lin Chuan did not speak, he was not angry, and continued to talk to himself. "You are very powerful. You have won 30 consecutive victories without using martial souls and soul skills. If we are both soul masters, I can't be your opponent, but today I will definitely force out your martial soul and soul skills, and even defeat you fairly. Have you finished talking? Let's start." Ao Feng has seen Lin Chuan's battles. The latter can be said to be very powerful. Even as a great soul master, he dare not say that he can win 30 consecutive victories without using martial souls and soul skills. This guy in front of him is an absolute rival. Therefore, Ao Feng did not dare to be careless and directly possessed the spirit. A layer of strong blue light suddenly burst out from Ao Feng's body, his arms stretched naturally, his back bulged slightly, and the bones all over his body began to crackle. The short white hair grew rapidly, and in the blink of an eye it had already covered his shoulders, and it did not stop until it reached his back. The palms had the biggest change, growing more than twice the size. Blue and white hair covered the entire palm, and the nails had turned into claws, which looked as sharp as a blade, radiating a cold light under the light. 2 yellow spirit rings rose slowly, flashing with light, and the surging spirit power formed a wave-like pressure, sweeping in all directions. Ao Feng, Spirit Cloud Leopard, Level 27 Fighting Spirit Master, please teach me. That the first 2 spirit rings were both 100 years old, which was really rare. Lin Chuan's expression was slightly surprised. Although the theoretical best configuration of the first 2 soul rings is 100 years, most soul masters have their first soul rings for 10 years. After being in the Great Soul Arena for so long, this is the first time he has encountered an opponent whose first 2 soul rings are 100 years old. Jax, Wuhuan Black Feather, 19th level weapon soul master. Lin Chuan pulled out the hatchet from his waist and spoke calmly. Seeing this, Ao Feng frowned slightly. "Aren't you going to use your Wuhuan yet?" "I will use it when I need it, provided that I really need it." "Then don't blame me for being merciless. I will force you to use your Wuhuan." Ao Feng roared, stomped his feet on the ground, his white hair fluttered, and his body full of explosive power rushed forward instantly. The battle was about to break out. Lin Chuan also stepped forward, and the 2 of them closed the distance in an instant. Ao Feng's sharp leopard claws tore through the air and grabbed Lin Chuan's body. But this seemingly swift but direct attack was easily captured by Lin Chuan. He stepped lightly, turned his body slightly, and dodged directly. "It's not over yet." Ao Feng stepped on the ground and spun, and his sharp claws attacked again. However, Lin Chuan did not fight back, but continued to move his feet lightly, swinging back and forth like a rootless duckweed. It seemed that there was no pattern in his movements, but he could dodge all attacks just right. You dodge seriously once, and you gain a little. Your body movement proficiency +1. You use your observation hockey seriously once, and you gain a little. Your observation hockey proficiency +1. With the continuous actions, a lot of information began to emerge in his mind. Lin Chuan's eyes suddenly lit up. As he guessed, fighting with soul masters did not improve him much, but fighting with great soul masters or even more powerful soul masters would help him a lot. Ao Feng's speed and fierce attack are indeed many times more than that of a one-ring soul master. However, it is still limited, and the proficiency jumps very slowly. Basically, the proficiency can only increase once after dodging several times. For the body skills that require tens of thousands of proficiency to enter the next level, it is still a drop in the bucket, but no matter what, it is better than getting nothing after a fight. The fierce battle immediately ignited the enthusiasm of the audience, and everyone began to shout the names of Lin Chuan and Ao Feng. In comparison, there are obviously more people supporting Lin Chuan. What a fast speed, teacher! This Ao Feng is very powerful, forcing that Jax to start to be in a hurry and can only be forced to dodge. In the stands, the red-haired little fat man shouted excitedly. "Humph, so you are still too young." The middle-aged man sitting on the little fat man snorted lightly, but his eyes stayed on the fighting stage, his eyes flashing with brilliance, staring at Lin Chuan. Lin Chuan seemed to be under a violent attack, but each dodge was not large, and he easily dodged each attack very skillfully, which was quite like strolling in the garden. It sounds like nothing big, but the middle-aged man knows what it means. Only through hundreds of battles can one develop such vision and experience. In addition, training in actual combat requires not only courage and carefulness, but also strong strength as support. Although Jax is wearing a mask, judging from his voice, he is not very old, and naturally he has not experienced too many battles. That means he is a real genius. No, this is not just a genius, it should be a little monster. That the middle-aged man clenched his hands, and his body began to tremble slightly due to excessive excitement. Originally, I just happened to hear the rumor when I passed by, so I came to the Sword City Fighting Soul Arena on a whim. I didn't expect there would be such a big surprise. Such a little monster must be pulled into his Shrek Academy. On the Fighting Soul Arena, Ao Feng suddenly stopped moving, his chest kept rising and falling, and he was panting. On the other hand, Lin Chuan's breathing was still very steady. Seeing this, Ao Feng didn't realize what was going on, and his face turned ugly instantly. Jax, are you humiliating me? Why don't you attack? Lin Chuan's face was calm and he didn't respond. Damn, the first soul-skilled leopard shadow. Ao Feng no longer held back, and the first soul ring behind him instantly lit up, forming a circle of blue halo around him, merging into his body, briefly increasing his speed. Second soul-skilled earth claw. Ao Feng turned into a shadow and rushed towards Lin Chuan. Compared with the beginning, his speed was obviously a few points faster. It's almost done, let's end it. Since Ao Feng was unwilling to cooperate with him in training, Lin Chuan naturally wouldn't waste time. Soul power poured into the axe, and the back of the blade flashed with an inconspicuous red halo. Cut. The two figures crossed each other as the axe was swung out. Puff! Ao Feng's figure trembled, and a trace of blood sprayed on his chest. His eyes rolled back, and the soul power around him dissipated. He couldn't even maintain his martial spirit possession, and fell to the ground unconscious. Lin Chuan turned the axe, and then put it back into the scabbard at his waist. Chapter 25 Rejecting the Invitation, Flanders arrives. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The entire main fighting arena was silent. Everyone opened their mouths wide, looking at the scene in disbelief. Incredible, it's really incredible, that the hostie was the first to come to her senses, flapping her wings, gliding in the air for a distance, and then landing steadily beside Lin Chuan. A faint fragrance came to my nose, but fortunately it was not too strong. Jax is still continuing his legendary path. Even when facing a level 27 Great Soul Master, he still did not use his martial soul and soul skills. It's amazing. I declare that this one-on-one cross-level fighting soul is won by Jax. Congratulations to Master Jax for winning his 31st consecutive victory. His current record, 31 wins and 0 losses. The sweet voice sounded obviously strange at this time. It was too excited, causing the voice to tremble. Oh. Jax, Jax, Jax. For a time, the whole audience was boiling. Most of the audience were attracted by the challenge of leapfrogging, and the rest were Lin Chuan supporters. Now that they had witnessed this feat, everyone was extremely excited, especially those who bet on Lin Chuan to win. Their mouths were about to burst with laughter. The level 19 Soul Master defeated a level 27 Great Soul Master, and he hadn't used his martial soul or soul skills yet. This was destined to be a moment that would be recorded in the history of the Sword City Great Soul Arena. Feeling the hot gazes around him, Lin Chuan was really a bit overwhelmed. A black shadow suddenly flew over. Lin Chuan subconsciously dodged, and there was a touch of pink on the ground where he was standing before. When he looked closely, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. Who the hell threw the close-fitting bellyband up? Is it so exaggerated? Before he had time to complain, it suddenly rained heavily on the Soul Arena, and those women seemed to be crazy, and all started throwing their underwear at Lin Chuan. Fuck, are you sick? Lin Chuan cursed inwardly and dodged quickly. Just now, I was able to fight with Ao Feng with ease, but now I am sweating profusely because of these crazy women. Who can I go to for justice? Fuck, aren't you a man? Seeing that a man also joined in, Lin Chuan's face hidden under the ghost mask finally couldn't remain calm, and immediately showed a ferocious and terrified expression. There was no time to think about it. While dodging, he rushed out of the main fighting spirit field as if running for his life. The back looked particularly embarrassed. You dodge seriously once, and you gain a little body movement proficiency +1. You use the observation hockey seriously once, and you gain a little the observation hockey proficiency +1. Fuck. Lin Chuan couldn't help but spit secretly. The proficiency has increased, which is enough to show how crazy these people are. It's outrageous. It's really troublesome. It looks like I have to be quiet for a while. Lin Chuan was not afraid of being targeted, but he didn't want to be treated like today again. Can you imagine the scene of underwear flying towards you? You never know who these things belong to. The most terrifying thing is that there are men among them. Ugh. Just thinking about it, Lin Chuan felt a little nauseous. Mr. Jax, I finally found you. The supervisor is looking for you. A staff member suddenly appeared in front of Lin Chuan, his eyes full of respect. Lead the way. Following the other party, he came to the supervisor's office with ease. Mr. Jax, congratulations, I knew you would be able to do it. 31 consecutive wins, and you also defeated the second-ring Great Soul Master above your level. It's crazy. The door had just opened, and Shang Sui couldn't wait to come forward to greet him. The middle-aged man couldn't close his mouth, his face was flushed, and he looked very excited. It's just luck. Manager Shang, I'm afraid your Great Fighting Soul Arena has made a lot of money this time. I'm afraid that it won't be long before Manager Shang will be promoted. No, these are just insignificant achievements. All thanks to Mr. Jax. Both of them said polite words to each other. At least this cross-level challenge has been a complete success, and both of them have obtained what they want. Manager Shang, you invited me here again this time. It shouldn't be just to congratulate, right? Shang Sui paused suddenly, then smiled helplessly. Sure enough, I can't hide it from Mr. Jax. This time, I invited you here. In addition to congratulations, there are indeed other things. I wonder if Mr. Jax is interested in joining the Great Fighting Soul Arena. Sure enough. People are afraid of being famous, and pigs are afraid of being fat. Long before the cross-level Fighting Soul, when Lin Chuan was winning all the way, many forces had come to invite him to join, but Lin Chuan refused. Now, even the Great Fighting Soul Arena has the same idea, but all this is within Lin Chuan's expectations. The 7 Soul Master families behind the Great Soul Arena are indeed impressive, but Lin Chuan has no intention of joining any force at random, at least not the Great Soul Arena. Thank you, Director Shang, but I don't have this idea for the time being. This. Mr. Jax, do you want to reconsider it? If you are willing to join, you will definitely be able to receive great training. Shang Sui's smile froze, and he hurriedly continued to persuade. However, Lin Chuan still shook his head. That's a pity, but my invitation is still valid. If Mr. Jax changes his mind one day in the future, you can come to me at any time. I will consider it carefully. Lin Chuan nodded slightly and gave a vague response. They both understood each other tacitly. Even if they did not reach a consensus, they did not fall out. This result was not bad. Manager Shang, if there is nothing else, I will leave first. Okay, Mr. Jax is welcome to come to the Fighting Spirit next time. After a few simple words, Lin Chuan was sent out of the Fighting Spirit Arena by Shang Sui. Lin Chuan deliberately avoided the crowd, took off his mask, and then threw away his coat, and then walked on the streets of Baojian City again. I thought I did it perfectly, but as I walked, Lin Chuan was shocked. When leaving the Fighting Spirit Arena, many people secretly spied on him. With the perception of the domineering aura of observation, he easily got rid of most of them, but 2 of them still followed him tightly, and no matter how Lin Chuan went around, he was not affected. What a trouble! Lin Chuan exhaled lightly, his eyes full of helplessness. He knew he could not escape. That breath was too strong. Lin Chuan couldn't sense the specific soul power level at all, but there was no doubt that it was definitely above level 50. Even though it was far away, it still made him feel alarmed. Suddenly, the two breaths accelerated and were about to arrive in the blink of an eye. Lin Chuan's face changed, and he raised his foot to run away. Unexpectedly, his shoulders suddenly sank, as if a heavy burden of 10,000 pounds was added to his body. The whole person was like being in the mud, and his movements became slow. "Don't get excited, little guy, I don't mean any harm." "Then let me introduce myself. My name is Flanders, and this is my disciple Ma Hongjun. Nice to meet you, Jax." Chapter 26. But I still refuse. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Flanders. Lin Chuan's eyes moved slightly, and he couldn't help being surprised. Is it the Flanders from Shrek Academy in his memory? If it was really that guy, it wouldn't be surprising if he could be so powerful. While Lin Chuan was thinking, his shoulders suddenly felt light. Almost as a reflex, he distanced himself and looked at the two people behind him warily. Pointed chin, wide jawbone, aquiline nose, whole face like a shoehorn, plus the pair of square glasses, and the fat little red-haired guy next to him. Everything is right. After learning the identity of the visitor, Lin Chuan was secretly relieved. Although Flanders is aloof, cunning and notoriously vengeful, he usually doesn't kill innocent people at will. This time he came here just to invite him to join Shrek Academy, but even though he thought so, Lin Chuan did not completely relax. Memory can only be used as a reference, reality is ever-changing. I've met Senior. I wonder if Senior stopped me. Did he have any orders? Lin Chuan slightly cupped his hands and spoke proactively. Seeing such a neither humble nor arrogant reaction, Flanders immediately nodded with satisfaction. Brother Jax, I've seen your spirit fight just now. You were able to defeat the great spirit master at a higher level, and you didn't even use the spirit or spirit skills. It's actually very good. What I didn't expect was that you would be so young. Can you tell me how old you are this year? Flanders asked softly, his eyes extremely hot. I am 9 years old. Lin Chuan deliberately falsely reported his age by 1 year. However, even so, after hearing his answer, the light in Flanders's eyes became brighter and his heart was already filled with joy. Genius, absolute genius. Coupled with the terrifying actual combat ability, it can be called a monster. Okay, 9 years old is good, it's so good. Flanders' eyes flashed, he adjusted the glasses on the bridge of his nose, and asked confidently, Brother Jax, let me introduce you solemnly. I am the Dean of Shrek Academy. I would like to invite you to join Shrek Academy. Before Lin Chuan could respond, Flanders added on his own. You may not have heard of it, but it doesn't matter. Shrek Academy is a high-level soul master school with very strong teachers. Moreover, our admission standards are all for little monsters like you, and I am still a level 73 soul master. Saint, I am definitely qualified to teach you. What do you think? Do you want to think about it? Flanders waved his hand gently, and 7 soul rings rose up instantly behind him, while showing an expectant look in his eyes. But if it were an ordinary person, and a soul saint suddenly appeared and invited him, he might actually agree to it if he got excited. But Lin Chuan knew very well what the situation was like in Shrek Academy, not to mention that Shrek Academy has no levels at all, and the so-called powerful teachers are just deceiving people. Among the high-end colleges that appear in the original work, there is no soul saint teacher in any of the high-end colleges. Even in many high-end colleges, there are also contras. In comparison, Shrek Academy does not have an advantage. Not only is it short of funds, but it also lacks various types of auxiliary training venues. It is slightly better than the intermediate Soul Master School, but compared with the high-level Soul Master School, it is definitely inferior. It takes so long that there's not even a scum left. As for the so-called recruiting only monsters, it is simply overestimating one's capabilities. Anyone can teach geniuses. Shrek Academy has no resources and no strong background. It doesn't have core competitiveness no matter how you look at it. Therefore, Shrek Academy was never part of Lin Chuan's plan. Thank you for your respect, Senior. It's just that I don't plan to enter the Soul Master Academy for the time being. I hope Senior can forgive me. Huh? You refused? The smile on Flanders' face froze instantly, and his eyes were full of disbelief. He couldn't believe that Lin Chuan, a soul saint of his own, had chosen to reject the invitation so decisively. Why is it different from what you imagined? It was clear that both Ma Hongjun and Oscar successfully lured them to Shrek Academy after an invitation. Why did it suddenly not work now? Little monster, are you sure? Our Shrek Academy is definitely the best place for you. There are professional teachers there to guide you in your cultivation, and they can definitely bring out your full potential. If you miss it, you will definitely regret it in the future. That even though he was rejected, Flanders still seemed unwilling to give up and asked again without giving up. However, Lin Chuan refused again without hesitation. I hope Senior can forgive me. May I know the reason for your refusal? Flanders' face looked a little ugly, but he was still not angry. With all due respect, Senior, now I am a silver soul fighter in the great soul fighting arena. I can get 1,000 gold soul coins for every victory. Can your academy give it to me? Can money compare with great strength? Flanders educated him righteously. Lin Chuan's expression remained unchanged, but cultivation is closely related to money. I have never heard of Shrek Academy. It's not famous, and it doesn't even have anything to do with the two empires or even the major sections. That means there are no resources. Also, does the Shrek Academy where Senior is located have teachers who are good at swordsmanship and archery? Flanders was embarrassed for a while and didn't know how to respond. There are not many teachers in Shrek Academy, and there are only a few of them. Most of them have beast spirits. As for weapon spirits, they are either auxiliary or sticks. There is really no candidate who meets the requirements. The reaction of the Senior has already explained everything, so I'm sorry, please forgive me for rejecting. Well. Flanders opened his mouth and finally could only sigh. Lin Chuan is indeed a good seedling, and it is also very tempting. If possible, Flanders naturally does not want to miss such a little monster, but if others don't want to, it's impossible to force it, right? Or should we kill such a genius in the cradle directly? Flanders shook his head. Although he was insidious and cunning, he couldn't do such a thing. He didn't know him at all. He was mentally ill to kill people casually. He was a small Shrek Academy, not a behemoth like the Two Empires or the Spirit Hall. Could it be that he was afraid that a genius would grow up and endanger his status? Flanders closed his eyes, stroked his newly emerged beard, and was filled with regret. I thought everything was over, but before leaving, Flanders invited him for the third time, but Lin Chuan still chose to refuse. There was no way. Flanders could only leave with regret. Until the other party really left, Lin Chuan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The observation hockey did not sense any malice, which was why Lin Chuan chose to refuse again. It's a pity. If Shrek could be richer or have a bigger background, it would be a good choice, but Tang San will come eventually, and I'm not interested in being a teammate with that guy. Lin Chuan shook his head gently and quickly calmed down. Now that such a big mess has occurred, Flanders' appearance has also sounded the alarm for Lin Chuan. He is still too weak and cannot decide his own fate. Maybe it's time to leave the Sword City. Chapter 27 Frozen Forest. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Jax's reputation became more and more famous, but this did not affect Lin Chuan's normal life. In other words, since the cross-level fighting, Lin Chuan has never appeared in the great fighting soul arena of Baojian City. Jax, who won 30 consecutive victories, has disappeared since then, and no one knows his whereabouts. The day after meeting Flanders, Lin Chuan left Baojian City. As for the identity of Jax, it will not be used for a long time. After all, in the past month or so, Lin Chuan has made a lot of money. Not to mention, he still has nearly 100,000 gold soul coins, which is enough for him to practice for a long time. For a long time, there is no need to worry about money. If it is really used up, the worst thing is to go to the great fighting soul arena and play 1 or 2 games. Lin Chuan went north all the way, and his destination was the Frozen Forest. This is also one of the 3 major soul beast gathering places. In addition to the Star Do Great Forest and the Frozen Forest, there is another one called the Sunset Forest. However, compared with the other 2 soul beast forests, the Frozen Forest is known as a high cold restricted area, with few species of animals and plants, and only a few cold attributed soul beasts, so few people are willing to come here. further north is the far north, which is a more dangerous place than the frozen forest. Not only is the number of soul beasts huge, but their strength should not be underestimated. Coupled with the terrible low temperature, if you accidentally get lost in it, you will be dead. Even so dangerous, Lin Chuan did not feel afraid. He was not far from the 20th level of soul power and needed a soul ring. After careful consideration, he decided to hunt an ice-attributed soul beast to obtain the soul ring, but this kind of soul beast is very rare in the Star Do Great Forest and the Sunset Forest. There is no other way, so you can only go to the frozen forest. To reach the frozen forest, you need to pass through the entire territory of the Sylph's Kingdom and pass through the Jiaoling Pass near the Tianling Mountains to enter the Tiando Empire Imperial City Circle, and then go north to the frozen forest. The territory of the Tiando Empire is very vast, and the entire journey is long, more than 2,000 miles, and it is quite difficult to cross mountains and rivers during the journey. Fortunately, Lin Chuan is not in a hurry, and he is practicing while traveling. At this speed, perhaps when he arrives at the frozen forest, his soul power still has not broken through level 20, but he can stay in Tiando City temporarily, and then go to the frozen forest after reaching level 20. The plan is also quite smooth. Following the caravan, there is no trouble along the way. About half a month later, Tiando City is already within reach. From a distance, you can already see the flags on the top of the city. As one of the two largest and most prosperous cities on the continent, the walls of Tiando City are nearly 60 feet high, all of which are repaired with the hardest granite. On the walls, soldiers are wearing fine armor, holding spears, standing at their respective posts, exuding a strong aura of killing, and are obviously elite soldiers. The tall city gate is 5 meters high and wide, which can accommodate 6 riders in parallel. There are 2 auxiliary gates on the side, which are specially used for pedestrians to enter and exit the city. This is Tiando City. It is really magnificent and eye-opening. Lin Chuan stood at the city gate and couldn't help sighing. Following the queue into the city, the lively atmosphere immediately hit him. The city is a different world. The main road is extremely wide, which is completely incomparable to the border town. Looking at the people coming and going around and the luxurious and tall buildings, Lin Chuan couldn't help but sigh at the prosperity of the capital of the Tiando Empire. Finding a pretty good place to stay, Lin Chuan was also taught a good lesson. It can only be said that the consumption in such a big city is really outrageous. Take the hotel where he lives now, for example. It is still a long way from the center of Tiando City. It is not the city center at all. The price of renting a room is still frighteningly high. Those who can live in Tiando City, or even own property or real estate, are basically rich or noble. It is extremely difficult for ordinary people to survive here. Even if you are a soul master, if you don't have enough background, you can only live with your tail between your legs. After all, throwing a brick into Tiando City can kill a large number of soul masters, most of whom have extraordinary origins. Lin Chuan didn't think much about it. He stayed in the room to meditate every day, and used the Qingwen Ding to refine his spirit. His cultivation speed was quite exaggerated. Finally, after half a month, he successfully broke through to level 20. Finally reached level 20, it's really not easy. Lin Chuan got up and stretched his body, and his bones intertwined, making crackling sounds. Name, Lin Chuan, Soul Power, Level 20, One Ring Soul Master. Blessing, Heaven rewards hard work. Blessing from the will of the Blue Star. No pain, no gain. Hard work will definitely be rewarded. Skills, Soul Meditation LV3, 633/1000. Skills, Archery Subtlety, 577/1W. Gun Skill Basic, 713/1000. Sword Skill Subtlety, 685/1W. Boxing Basic, 698/1000. Body Skill Subtlety, 452/1W. Observation. Hockey LV1, 654/1000. Soul Skills, First Soul Skill Explosive Arrow LV1, 55 out of 100. It has been more than 2 months since I got my first soul ring. Except for the soul power being increased by 2 levels, the rest of my abilities have not been upgraded, but they have also been greatly improved. At least Lin Chuan is quite satisfied with his progress. If he continues like this, he will at least reach the Soul King realm when he is 12 years old, but his actual combat power is more than just a Soul King. the premise is that Lin Chuan can survive until then. Early the next morning, Lin Chuan left Tiando City and set off north again, heading for the frozen forest. Passing through the Dao province and approaching the Shuafeng Linyuan, the temperature gradually began to drop, and Lin Chuan could clearly feel that the air was getting colder and colder. The cold wind kept coming, forcing Lin Chuan to slow down and find a city to buy thick clothes. He also purchased some dry food and some useful supplies to ensure that nothing was missed before continuing on his way. For a person who has lived in the south in both his previous life and this life, this environment is really deadly. Fortunately, Lin Chuan gritted his teeth and persevered. After all, 7 days passed, and after going the wrong direction twice, he finally arrived at his destination. Looking at the forest covered in white, Lin Chuan stopped and panted slightly, exhaling white mist from his mouth and nose, which immediately turned into broken ice chips flying in the air. The biting cold wind penetrated through the gaps in his clothes, stabbing him like a knife. Even on Lin Chuan's eyebrows, a thin layer of frost had condensed. Finally, we're here. I know how exaggerated the temperature in the north is. In my previous life, I wondered if the north was really that cold. Even eyebrows and beards could freeze. I didn't expect that I could experience it myself. Lin Chuan found a stone, cleaned the snow on the surface, and sat down to rest. It was hard all the way, but it was worth it. Lin Chuan was not in a hurry to enter the frozen forest, so he decided to recover his strength first, and then go in to look for soul beasts after everything was ready. Chapter 28 Millennium Ice Crystal Bird. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chi la la. Just then, the sound of snow being crushed suddenly came from afar. Lin Chuan looked up suddenly and saw 2 large carriages approaching slowly, and finally stopped at a position close to the frozen forest. Afterwards, 2 young girls in blue cotton jackets jumped off one after another, but when the curtain was opened again, another beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure slowly walked out, and her temperament was particularly charming. Lin Chuan's eyes shrank slightly, and he quickly retracted his gaze. This woman is stronger than Flanders, whom he had met before. Ha! The 2 girls and the cold and beautiful woman also noticed Lin Chuan's existence. The 3 of them were obviously very curious about why someone would come to such a dangerous frozen forest alone, so they looked at him a few more times. This boy is not simple. That the cold and beautiful woman looked at Lin Chuan twice more, and a hint of surprise flashed in her beautiful eyes, but she quickly retracted her gaze. Binger, Shuewu, let's go in. The frozen forest is full of dangers. Remember to stay with me to avoid danger. Yes, Dean, that the 2 girls responded in unison, and also retracted their gazes, and followed the beautiful woman obediently. The 3 of them quickly turned around and entered the frozen forest. Are we leaving? Lin Chuan exhaled a white mist, and his eyes narrowed slightly. Binger, Shuewu. Such familiar names, could they be from Tianshui College? Recalling the oppressive feeling on the cold and beautiful woman, Lin Chuan became more and more certain of his guess. Only Tianshui College would go to the frozen forest to hunt soul rings. After all, for ice attribute soul masters, the frozen forest and the extreme north are excellent soul hunting venues. I just didn't expect to meet people from Tianshui College here. But this has nothing to do with me. Lin Chuan shook his head and stopped thinking about it. Tianshui College is a country of women. It sounds very attractive, but Lin Chuan doesn't have time to think about these things now. The most important thing is to improve his strength. After sitting for a while, his strength was completely restored. Lin Chuan slowly stood up and walked into the frozen forest. The north wind was howling, and the snow and ice were flying all over the sky. All the trees around had fallen leaves long ago, leaving only bare branches. However, under the decoration of snowflakes, there was a strange beauty. In the wind and snow, Lin Chuan walked in the thick snow, leaving footprints along the way, but when the wind and snow passed, the footprints were quickly buried, as if they had never appeared. A woo! Suddenly, a wolf howl came from the depths of the forest. Lin Chuan looked in the direction where the sound came from. The white snow was particularly dazzling. At first glance, it seemed that there was no living creature, but with the help of his observation hockey, Lin Chuan still successfully found the uninvited guest who blended into the environment. Good fellow, it's really good at camouflage. If I hadn't sensed its aura, I wouldn't have been able to find it. Lin Chuan smacked his lips slightly, and looked at several soul beasts not far away with sharp eyes. Ice wolf. An ice-attributed soul beast, it also lives in groups. It is worth mentioning that this soul beast not only lives in the frozen forest, but also in the star forest and the sunset forest. Should I say that I have a connection with wolves? That I met a group of nether wolves in the Lima plain before, and now I met a group of ice wolves. Lin Chuan shook his head slightly. Unfortunately, these ice wolves are only 100-year soul beasts at most, which is a little lower, and they are too ordinary. Although the ice wolf is not bad, it is not within Lin Chuan's consideration. If possible, he still hopes to hunt some powerful soul beasts, just like getting the first soul ring from the king of the earth. Get out of the way, don't mess with me. Lin Chuan drew his bow and arrow, and the 100-year soul ring behind him lit up. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the terrible temperature even melted a pile of snow, but as the wind and snow fell, it buried the place where the explosion occurred again. Whoa! The ice wolf seemed to realize that the human in front of him was not easy to mess with. It roared in a low voice and chose to leave tactfully. Lin Chuan did not choose to kill him, not to mention that these ice wolves were useless to him, but the bloody smell would easily attract other soul beasts. Therefore, in the soul beast forest, it is best not to do it if you can avoid it. Unless you meet a suitable soul beast, it is better to avoid trouble. Lin Chuan does not need to make money by hunting soul beasts and collecting materials, so there is no need to do so. Ice silkworm. After walking for a while, a fleshy worm hanging on a tree came into view. Looking at the fleshy appearance, Lin Chuan instantly thought of a special soul beast, the million-year soul beast Tianmeng ice silkworm, which has a good ice attribute and a spiritual attribute. The most important thing is that if you can get its recognition and take the initiative to become a soul ring, you can also get a second martial soul. Unfortunately, Lin Chuan is not a spiritual soul master. In addition, Tianmeng ice silkworm is either floating in the sea or has been caught in the Xingdou Great Forest as a tonic to improve his cultivation. With Lin Chuan's current strength, he is powerless. But ordinary ice silkworms are a little worse, mainly because this ice silkworm is too young. Otherwise, if it really has a cultivation of 1,000 or 2,000 years, it is not impossible to consider. Without disturbing this little guy, Lin Chuan continued to move forward, but after searching for a while, the results were not satisfactory. Either he met a suitable soul beast, but the age was too young, or the age was suitable, but the soul beast species did not satisfy Lin Chuan. He even almost ran into a 10,000-year soul beast several times. If Lin Chuan had not run fast, it would have been dangerous. This is really... Lin Chuan just felt very tired. He now knew how difficult it was to get a suitable soul ring, so when he first went to the Xingdou Great Forest, he was really lucky. Just as Lin Chuan was constantly searching, a breath was flying towards him at a very fast speed. Soon, a black shadow appeared in the sky. Looking closely, it seemed to be a blue bird. 1,000-year soul beast ice crystal bird. Lin Chuan narrowed his eyes and instantly recognized the species of this soul beast. Judging from its size, it should be about 1,700 years old, which is a pretty good soul beast. You came at the right time. Whether it is suitable or not, take it first. Since they took the initiative to deliver it to the door, Lin Chuan would naturally not be polite. He quickly pulled out an arrow, used his observation hockey to predict the flight trajectory of the ice crystal bird, aimed, and instantly released his right hand. Swish! The arrow broke through the air, with a chilling cold light. Chirp! The ice crystal bird realized that the crisis was coming, and quickly flapped its wings, trying to avoid the sudden cold arrow, but the arrow was obviously faster and passed by its body. Blood fell from the air, and the ice crystal bird let out a cry of pain. Chapter 29 Meeting on the river 30 years ago is fate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Chuan was not surprised. Although his archery skills were at an advanced level, it did not mean that he could hit the target with perfect accuracy. It was normal for him to be caught and dodge. Come again. Without giving the ice crystal sparrow time to react, Lin Chuan shot another arrow. This time, the century-old soul ring from the King of Earth shined with dazzling light. Explosive arrow. Arrows with flaming light flew out. Chirp. The ice crystal sparrow spread its wings and hovered in midair. There was obvious anger in its eyes that were not too big. It flapped its wings violently, causing endless cold wind. Snowflakes condensed into ice crystals and fell all over the sky. Boom. The bursting arrow exploded, and the flames shot into the sky, covering all the ice crystals and shattering them into pieces. The smoke and dust billowed, blocking the sight of both parties. At this moment, there was a sudden movement in the smoke. 3 arrows penetrated the thick smoke, came through the air, and struck at the ice crystal bird in a straight line. The angles were so tricky that they even blocked most of its dodge angles. Chirp, that the left wing of the ice crystal bird was pierced by an arrow. It looked up to the sky and let out a mournful cry. It flapped its other wing desperately, but the severe pain affected its flight, and it finally fell heavily to the ground. With a hiss, another arrow pierced the other wing of the ice crystal bird. This 1,000-year-old soul beast was seriously injured and pinned to the ground by arrows, unable to break free no matter what. Lin Chuan slowly stepped forward. Unexpectedly, the ice crystal sparrow suddenly opened its mouth, and a stream of blue frost spurted out from its mouth, heading towards Lin Chuan. How cruel! With a sigh in his mouth, Lin Chuan tapped his feet on the ground and dodged away in time. It is indeed a wild soul beast in the gathering place of the 3 major soul beasts. It is full of wildness and unwilling to surrender. It is quite dangerous. Even if it is seriously injured, its ferocious nature will not change. However, it is too naive to want to sneak attack. As Lin Chuan moved, he came to the ice crystal bird. Chang. The hatchet was unsheathed and struck the ice crystal sparrow hard on the head. The huge power contained in the soul power directly knocked the ice crystal sparrow unconscious. Done. Lin Chuan slowly breathed a sigh of relief. The whole process went smoothly. From meeting the ice crystal bird to subduing it, it didn't take much effort. That is to say, during the battle, the noise was a little louder, and there was no guarantee that other soul beasts would not come over to join in the fun. Then, should we absorb this soul ring? Looking at the ice crystal bird at his feet, Lin Chuan hesitated. To be honest, the Millennium ice crystal sparrow is not very aggressive, but it is also the most suitable soul beast that Lin Chuan has encountered since entering the frozen forest. 1,700 years is close to the upper limit of the 3rd soul ring for ordinary people. With Lin Chuan's current physical fitness, there is no problem in absorbing such a soul ring at a higher level. Don't wait any longer. Even if we continue to search, I'm afraid we may not be able to find a more suitable soul beast than this 1,000-year-old ice crystal sparrow. After thinking twice, Lin Chuan finally chose to absorb it, not to mention that it is dangerous to continue deep into the frozen forest. The 10,000-year soul beasts inside are quite fierce. Lin Chuan alone cannot run rampant here. It is rare to find a suitable soul beast nowadays, so naturally he cannot miss it. Thinking of this, Lin Chuan first sprinkled some animal repellent powder nearby, then slowly raised the hatchet in his hand and slashed at the neck of the Millennium ice crystal bird. Please wait a moment. Suddenly, a cold voice suddenly sounded. Lin Chuan made a move, and 3 figures came out from the direction where the ice crystal sparrow flew from. 2 young girls of about 12 years old, the other one is a very beautiful woman, with a delicate diamond-shaped face, long black hair reaching her waist, phoenix eyes revealing the slightest shrewdness, and her eyebrows revealing a hint of shrewdness. A frosty temperament that repels people thousands of miles away. Surprisingly, they were 3 people who had met outside the frozen forest before. Fortunately he's not dead. One of them, a sassy girl with long black hair and a snow-white face, looked at the ice crystal sparrow on the ground and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Trouble. Lin Chuan secretly spat, but still did not act rashly. He held the hatchet tightly and cupped his hands. I have met Senior, but I don't know why Senior wants to stop me. It was still the sassy girl. You can't kill that ice crystal sparrow. We discovered it first and hunted it down first. There is still ice left by Binger on its chest. Lin Chuan turned the ice crystal bird over with his feet, and when he saw the frozen feathers, he secretly felt bad. Unexpectedly, it was not easy to find a suitable soul beast, but it turned out that it had been injured by others. However, these are not important. The most important thing is that the opponent has a master who has at least reached Soul Saint, and may even be a Soul Douluo. Even if he wants to fight for it, he is not a match at all. The law of the jungle is so cruel. Okay, Xuewu, let me do it. At this moment, the beautiful woman with a cool temperament, noble and dignified voice suddenly spoke and turned to look at Lin Chuan. Sorry, little brother, we discovered this 1,000-year ice crystal sparrow first. It is very suitable for my students. And at the age of little brother, it is unlikely that he can absorb the 1,000-year soul ring, so I hope you can endure the pain. Cut off love. But don't worry, little brother, we are from Tianshui College. The ice crystal sparrow is your uniform, little brother. Naturally, he will not do that kind of trickery. He will definitely give you a satisfactory compensation. What do you think? That it was not as strong as expected, but rather approachable. Even the observation hockey did not capture any malice, which surprised Lin Chuan. He had just thought that he was ready to compromise first, and then chanted 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west, do not bully the poor young man, and then go to Tianshui College to regain his face after he became stronger in the future. Unexpectedly, he was interrupted by someone. I just don't know whether the other party is sincere or hypocritical. Since you, the seniors, met this 1,000-year-old ice crystal bird first, and you are so polite, how can the juniors not know how to appreciate it? What's more, it was a fluke that I was able to take it down. It's better to say that I took advantage of its injury. As for compensation, there is no need. Lin Chuan shook his head gently and finally chose to compromise. The situation is stronger than the person, there is no way. Being able to survive is considered to be a good temper of the other party. For a soul master who is about to advance, a good soul ring is undoubtedly very important, not to mention that in this wild, if you have a weird temper, it is no problem to kill you. The beautiful woman was lucky that she didn't make a move right away. Lin Chuan now wanted to leave quickly, as if she could see what Lin Chuan was thinking. The beautiful woman opened her round lips and smiled. You are quite clever, but don't worry, after all, you took down the Millennium Ice Crystal Bird, so even if we took the initiative, it's not easy to take it for free. How about this? My student just needs a soul ring to advance, and I can help you find a suitable soul beast and use its soul ring as compensation, so you won't suffer in vain. This. It's true that Lin Chuan was very tempted, not to mention that the other party had repeatedly proposed it, and it would be a bit impolite to refuse it again. Senior, you are so righteous, so I'm shameless and disrespectful to refuse it. You are so interesting, kid, just follow us for the time being. Chapter 30. Are you serious? You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The Millennium Ice Crystal Bird finally gave in. There is nothing that can be done about this. In Douluo Continent, the jungle is strong and the jungle is strong. If you meet someone stronger than you, if you are willing to talk to you and offer compensation, it is already quite good. If you were someone with a bad temper, he would not talk nonsense to you. Take action when you meet. It can only be said that Lin Chuan has no chance to meet this 1,000-year-old ice crystal sparrow. I was still thinking about whether to absorb this soul ring before, but now I'm fine. I don't need to continue to worry about it. Someone can help me make a decision. As the beautiful girl killed the ice crystal sparrow, the matter was settled. The girl sat down cross-legged, and a blue phoenix shadow appeared behind her. Under the blue light, the soul ring of the ice crystal sparrow flowed into the body. Inside, the other three stood aside, waiting patiently for her to absorb the soul ring. Seeing that his efforts had made a wedding dress for others, even though Lin Chuan had accepted the reality, he still couldn't hold it back and curled his lips slightly. Catching this, the cold and beautiful woman on the side immediately smiled and comforted. Don't worry, little guy. After Binger absorbs the soul ring, I will find a suitable soul beast for you. Thank you, senior, you are really a kind-hearted person. The smile on the beautiful woman's face became even brighter, and while she was alert to her surroundings, she started chatting with Lin Chuan. Just as Lin Chuan had guessed, the three women in front of him were all from Tianshui College. The beautiful girl is called Shui Binger, and the sassy girl is Shui Wu. Both of them are also future members of Tianshui Academy. At a young age, he was already standing tall and graceful, and that cold and beautiful woman has a bigger background. She is the current dean of Tianshui College, Shui Lanxin, and she is also an 82-level Contra. All I can say is that fortunately the other party is quite sensible, otherwise he would not even be able to run away if he really wanted to attack him. Looking at it this way, his luck is very bad, but not too bad. Little guy, you are too brave to run into the frozen forest alone. Aren't you afraid of encountering danger? Lin Chuan smiled carefree and said, Dean Shui is joking. Civilian soul masters like us simply can't afford to hire soul masters to help hunt for soul rings. If you want to break through the realm, you can only come to the soul beast forest to try it yourself. Luck. Although the frozen forest is dangerous, I think I have some abilities. As long as I'm careful, I usually won't run into trouble. Hearing this, Shui Lanxin nodded in agreement. That's true. At your age, you are able to defeat this ice crystal bird, which surprises me. Even Binger and Xuewu couldn't defeat it. Speaking of this, Shui Lanxin suddenly became more curious. How old are you this year? Junior is 9 years old this year. The words were as usual, but Shui Lanxin was extremely surprised. My soul power reached level 20 at the age of 9. This speed is not much slower than Binger. Could it be that you are also born with full soul power? Lin Chuan smiled silently but did not answer. Seeing this, Shui Lanxin had a funny look on her face. You little guy, you are really vigilant, whatever. Since you don't want to tell me, I won't ask. Thank you, Dean Shui, for your understanding. Lin Chuan slightly cupped his hands and felt relieved. When talking to such a powerful person with extraordinary knowledge, one's own underwear will be revealed in a few words. If you talk too much, you will make many mistakes, so it is better to remain silent. About half an hour passed, a wave of soul power surged out, and Shui Binger slowly opened her eyes and woke up. Binger, you succeeded. Xuewu asked excitedly. Shui Binger smiled and nodded, and 3 soul rings rose from her feet. 2 of them were yellow soul rings that shone brightly, while the other bright purple soul ring showed its own power. This also heralded that the girl finally broke through. He has reached the level of Great Soul Master and entered the realm of Soul Master, 30-level control system battle Soul Master, Shui Binger. Congratulations, Binger. Shui Lanxin looked at her with a smile, a gentle expression on her face. After obtaining the 3rd soul ring, Shui Binger's whole body also underwent subtle changes. She seemed to have grown a bit taller, about 1.6 meters tall, and her figure became more proportionate. Dean, thank you for protecting me. Shui Binger had a smile on her face, but she couldn't hide her excitement. Thank you too for giving me the ice crystal bird. The girl turned to look at Lin Chuan again, bowed slightly and saluted, expressing her inner gratitude. You're welcome. The corners of Lin Chuan's mouth twitched, and his heart was full of helplessness. No thanks. Okay, since Binger has successfully broken through to the Soul Master, let's continue looking for soul rings for Xuewu and this little guy. Shui Lanxin spoke softly, her voice gentle and pleasant. This made Shui Binger, who had originally planned to talk about the effects of his 3rd soul skill, immediately react and look at Lin Chuan without any trace, and then nodded lightly. Soul skills are such a private thing, so naturally they cannot be leaked at will, let alone outsiders. Little guy, have you thought about which spirit beast to hunt? Or the ice crystal sparrow? Shui Lanxin asked while paying attention to her surroundings. Well. Lin Chuan thought briefly, shook his head slightly, and said tentatively, it doesn't have to be an ice crystal sparrow. My target is an ice attribute soul beast, but if possible, I hope to be able to absorb one. The soul ring of the ice jade scorpion is only nearly 1,000 years old. Shui Lanxin raised a question mark with a strange look on her face, while Shui Binger and Xuewu looked equally astonished. Ice jade scorpion, it will take nearly 1,000 years, are you serious? You are so rude, little fellow. There is no ice jade scorpion in the frozen forest. This kind of spirit beast only lives in the extreme northern restricted area. Only such a bitter cold place can breed such a powerful spirit beast. and it can only breed such a powerful spirit beast. Activities in the core area, there are not only powerful spirit beasts, but also extreme cold that ordinary people cannot resist. Even after I entered, I dare not say that I can come out safely. 1,000-year-old ice crystal bird is not enough. Shui Lanxin rolled her eyes at Lin Chuan, but she wasn't angry at all. If she could enter the core area of the far north, would she still need to let Shui Binger absorb the ice crystal sparrow's soul ring? Is that so? Then forget it. Lin Chuan was not surprised. He just gave it a try. If he agreed, everyone would be happy. It would be fine if he didn't. Ice Jade Scorpion, don't even think about it, just try something more realistic. Wait a minute, aren't you only at level 20? If you are at level 20 to absorb a soul ring that lasts for nearly 1,000 years, are you sure you are not looking for death? Shuawu suddenly realized something strange and couldn't help but speak softly. As soon as these words came out, Shui Binger and Shui Lanxin also looked over at the same time. Shuawu is right, little guy. The 1,000-year soul ring has exceeded the limit that most level 20 soul masters can bear. If it is forcibly absorbed, problems will easily occur. Shui Lanxin also spoke softly to dissuade him. Lin Chuan smiled slightly, but did not explain. Thank you, Dean Shui, for your concern. Let's look for it first. Maybe we can find a suitable soul ring. Fine. Shui Lanxin stared deeply at Lin Chuan, her eyes full of meaning, and nodded slightly. Please vote for recommendations and monthly votes. If you like this book, please support it. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Thank you.